Common sense, but we're not going to talk common sense up next. We're going to be talking about Meghan. Meghan, you remember her? Yeah, we don't like in the news very often because she likes her private life. But the Duchess of Sussex is in the news after giving an interview with a US business magazine. What the hell they were talking about.
I was told by somebody they were only putting out 10 jars. So, of course, it would all go because I think she sold them to her friends.
I don't think she even sold it to her friends. I think they were all thought she sent it to them.
Jar of non-jam, because it's actually only allowed officially to be called fruit spread because there's not enough fruit in it.
People thought it was a full product launch, but the truth? Less than 1,000 jars were made. Most of them weren't even sold. They were given away to her friends, influencers, and a few media people. It looked more like a bake sale at a billionaire's house than a real business. Each jar sells for around $14, and experts say she might make about $6 in profit per jar. To just cover $15 million in costs, she'd have to sell 2.5 million jars a year. That's wild. She's not selling in grocery stores or big retailers like Target or Whole Foods. These aren't pantry staples. They're collector items wrapped in gold string and royal hopes. Now think about this. Jam goes bad, tea goes stale, cookie mix clumps. This isn't digital merch that you can just sell online forever. This is food. It has to be made fresh, packed carefully, stored somewhere, shipped with care, and refrigerated if needed. That's a huge amount of work and money just for one jar. So what's really going on here? Let's break it down. Meghan and Harry live in Montecito, California. Their house is massive, 20,000 square feet. Just their mortgage alone is said to be around $100,000 a month. That's $1.2 million a year, just to stay in the house. Add in property taxes and it jumps to about $2 million before they even open the fridge.
Look at my bees, and here I am collecting fruit for the jam.
She wants us to listen to her like she's a founder because she took all that money and launched her stupid-ass lifestyle brand with jam.
You can't get to be a billionaire selling pots of jam.
All she does now with her jams that are crap is post pictures of her children left, right and centre, which has me always thinking, well, hold on a second, you duplicitous woman, how does that make any sense?
If Meghan wants to clean up her act, she's got some serious work to do, and not the kind with jam jars and mood boards.
This woman is a born manipulator. The Netflix thing, she doesn't do the work. She don't make the jams. It's all made for her.
And after the comedy of errors that was American Riviera Orchard and the ongoing chaos of Manic Meg's scam jam car crash as ever, perhaps caution is called for here.
So imagine this. You're living in a $14 million mansion with a private chef, a housekeeper trained in fluffing pillows like royalty, and bodyguards who cost more than most people's entire income. You've got lavender-scented spa rooms, Instagram-ready brunch tables, and a garden that changes with the seasons based on your mood board. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, that's real life. But here's the twist. It's not being paid for by fairy dust. It's being paid for by jam. Yeah, you heard that right. Meghan Markle started selling jam under a new brand she calls American Riviera Orchard. Cute name, fancy labels, soft pink ribbons, and photos that look like they came out of a Pinterest dream. The problem? She's trying to use jam sales to support a $20 million a year lifestyle. And let's be honest, that math doesn't work. Now let's add the staff. They've got bodyguards who work around the clock, 4 guards, 12-hour shifts, about $1,000 a shift. That adds up to more than $3 million a year just for security. Then there are 2 full-time nannies trained in fancy education methods, a private chef who only uses fruit from specialty farms, a luxury housekeeper, and even groundskeepers who rebuild the garden multiple times a year just to match Meghan's latest aesthetic. Altogether, that's about $250,000 a month in staff salaries. That's another $3 million a year. To pay for all that, Meghan would need to sell 500,000 jars of jam a year just to cover her help. And that's not counting yoga teachers flown in from Bali, imported spa oils, holiday decorations that change with the seasons, or the constant flow of photographers and stylists ready for the next Instagram post. But here's where things get even messier. Inside one of Meghan's gift baskets, someone spotted a card. On that card were her kids' names, Archie and Lilibet, with the letters HRH next to them. HRH stands for Her Royal Highness. And that's a problem. When Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, They agreed not to use their royal titles for business. They weren't supposed to turn those titles into branding tools. But putting HRH on a jam gift? That's exactly what people warned about. This wasn't just a tiny mistake. Prince William was said to be furious. Royal titles aren't cute add-ons. They come with rules, responsibilities, and trust from the public. Using them to sell jam? That crossed the line. And it's not the only thing raising eyebrows. Meghan's big podcast deal with Spotify? It flopped after just one season. Spotify pulled out and called it smoke and mirrors. Her Netflix deal? Still running, but not going as planned. There's been lots of talk, but not much content. Executives are asking where the results are and where the money went. All these projects need lawyers. Meghan and Harry have legal teams in both the US and the UK. And not cheap ones either. Just keeping them on retainer costs around $500,000 a year. If there's a major legal issue, that number can explode. And then there's PR. Their image is carefully managed, when it works. They've gone through 3 different PR firms in 1 year. Every time Meghan wants to change her narrative, it comes with a 6-figure price tag. Meanwhile, Harry's fortune is quietly shrinking. He inherited around $25 million from his mother and great-grandmother. That was supposed to be his safety net after leaving the royal family. But now, insiders say that money is being poured into Meghan's business ventures. The jam brand? Harry funded it. The podcast? Same thing. Every dream project Meghan has launched needed seed money, and that money often came from Harry's own pockets. So here we are, a brand built on perfectly filtered pictures, handwritten notes, and lavender-scented gift baskets. But behind all the soft lighting and expensive packaging is a business that doesn't work. You can't sell enough jam to support a $20 million lifestyle. Not unless you go big. But going big means factories, supply chains, stores, and lower prices. And if you do that, you lose the fancy, exclusive vibe that the brand depends on. It's a trap. Too small to make money, too fancy to scale. That's the real problem. And the bigger question is, how long can this last? Netflix is pulling back. Spotify's gone. The PR machine is burning cash. And people are starting to ask, what do Meghan and Harry really do? The royal family is watching closely. They know the danger. If royal titles become just another product, the whole system starts to crack. Because once you turn royalty into content, into a lifestyle brand, into a logo on a jam jar, what's left? Meghan's jam is more than jam. It's a symbol of a life that looks beautiful online but costs more than it earns. A symbol of a couple who said they wanted privacy but now sell their stories to stay relevant. A symbol of a brand that feels more like a performance than a purpose. And that's the scary part. Every influencer moment, every podcast drop, every limited edition product, it's all part of the same hustle, trying to turn attention into income before the attention runs out. People used to admire Harry. He was the prince who cared, who served, who showed real heart. But now? Many see him as the +1 in Meghan's empire, a man burning through his legacy, one jar at a time. And Meghan? Some call her brilliant. Others say she's lost in the fantasy. But everyone's watching. Because jam won't save an empire, and when the bills keep rising and the sales stay flat, something has to give. So the next time you see a pretty jar wrapped in gold ribbon and marked sold out, remember this. It's not just a sweet treat, it's a lifeline, a desperate move to keep a dream alive. But dreams cost money, and this one, it's running out fast.
Turns out it's not actually jam. Under FDA regulations, it's technically...
Picture the scene. Meghan Markle, the self-styled Duchess of Reinvention, is poised to launch what she swears will be a wholesome slice of California sunshine in a jar. Sun-ripened berries, recycled glass, a ribbon-tied lid, Instagram perfection waiting to trend. Influencer friends are lined up, glossy press kits are drafted, and hand-picked wellness boutiques expect brisk sales. Then, without warning, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration slams on the brakes, yanking the entire as-ever fruit spread dream off the shelf.
Talk about Meghan Markle, because she's in the Sun today, pausing her jam firm in case it gets annoying. Apparently, some kind of reality has set in. Angela, very good morning to you. She thinks she might be annoying.
She thinks people might be annoying. Jam one after the other. If they've got to wait, it's going to be terrible. So she wipes them out. This is what she was talking about to Tina Knowles, the mother of Beyonce. It was her last podcast. Last week was her last podcast.
Catastrophic few days for Harry and Meghan.
In a single press release, Regulators remind the world that royal titles can't outshine federal law, and Meghan's bid to rebrand herself as a lifestyle visionary implodes faster than you can say organic. So how did a humble jar of jam turn into the most spectacular faceplant of Meghan's post-royal career? First, the glaring paperwork gap. Any food sold across state lines must appear in the FDA's Food Facility Registry, complete inspections, and receive a tidy stamp of approval. Basic stuff. Yet insiders reveal the Duchess's team never finished, some say never even started, the registration. No facility address logged, no hazard analysis, no sanitary check. One agency official called it an unidentified kitchen experiment wrapped in designer twine, and the FDA's response was swift: immediate shutdown, public notice, and zero wiggle room for celebrity charm. Then there's that bold 100% organic claim splashed across every jar. Real organic certification means months of audits, soil tests, and supply chain tracing, culminating in a coveted USDA green seal. Meghan's label had the words, but none of the credentials. That isn't a marketing oversight. It's a legal line you never cross in the specialty foods world. Food law attorneys are already sharpening their pencils, predicting fines that dwarf the product's projected earnings, and hinting at consumer fraud lawsuits if anyone claims the jam triggered an allergy or triggered illness. Public health experts wasted no time in sounding the alarm. Without registration, nobody outside Meghan's inner circle knows where the fruit was processed, what cleaning protocols existed, or whether a rogue batch of bacteria is quietly fermenting in someone's pantry. One nutritionist compared the launch to serving raw sushi on a street corner in July. Translation: cute in photos, risky in real life. For a brand built on wellness buzzwords, mindful, pure, restorative, this gap undercuts every promise. Cue the social media inferno. TikTok users filmed slow-motion tosses, jars shattering in kitchen sinks while captions screamed, "Royal reject." Hashtags sprouted overnight. Jamcam, not so ever, Barrygate. A viral stitch showed a once devoted fan sobbing, "I trusted her name meant quality. That trust is gone." The clip racked up millions of views before Meghan's team drafted a single response, turning damage control into a sprint the brand couldn't win. Retail buyers felt the heat next. Boutique shop owners who'd cleared prime shelf space quietly boxed up inventory and slapped handwritten signs reading, "Temporarily unavailable." Organic distributors froze future deals, worried any affiliation could invite audits and lawsuits. One buyer admitted off the record, "We bet on Meghan's star power." Now we're stuck with returns and angry customers. Overnight, the jam went from upscale delicacy to radioactive liability. Back in Montecito, the crisis meetings stretched late into the night. Lawyers combed through federal code, PR strategists weighed apology scripts, staffers drafted emergency statements about clerical errors. But consultants warn the looming financial hit isn't the real nightmare. It's the credibility cliff. Consumers might forgive a delayed delivery or a supply glitch. They rarely forgive perceived deceit, especially when it involves food safety. The internet never forgets a recall headline, and Meghan's critics are already stitching this fiasco into her narrative of overpromising and underdelivering.
Disaster, actually, but she keeps calling herself a businesswoman, and she hasn't, because it's all fallen down. And she's there on her own trying to do it, she pretends, but she's got loads of people. One of the cooking days, she had 80 people to help her in her house.
Industry veterans are openly bewildered. Small batch jam founders who spent months and thousands of dollars on inspections can't fathom skipping paperwork. They chase down every lot code, sanitize every stainless steel surface, all for a shot at the same shelf space Meghan tried to capture in one Instagram post. This is the mistake you expect from a dorm room side hustle, one consultant scoffed, annoyed not a duchess with an A-list Rolodex. As if that weren't enough, the FDA took an extraordinary step, urging consumers to report any store still selling as ever. That level of enforcement is usually reserved for contamination scares. Think E. coli in spinach, not raspberry preserves in pastel packaging. State food enforcement teams began quiet spot checks, and online marketplaces received advisories to delist the jam. The Duchess's brand, once wrapped in gold foil of royal nostalgia, now wears a bright red warning label straight from Washington. With backlash snowballing, PR experts delivered a brutal verdict. Meghan's quest to balance luxury, authenticity, and morality just collapsed. Luxury brands don't cut regulatory corners. Authentic labels need verified claims. Moral leadership means putting consumer safety above marketing buzz. Remove these pillars, and the brand's foundation crumbles to dust. Even the most heartfelt apology can't erase an FDA alert or the viral hashtag echo chamber.
And her Tina gave her a real whopping, really. She kept telling her, well, it's not a good idea to let things run out. And what are you doing? Get on with it, girl.
Behind the scenes, whispers of future strategy grow louder. One camp pushes for a full rebrand, new product category, different packaging, maybe pivoting from edibles to home decor. Another suggests an outright retreat from wellness, arguing the damage is too deep to salvage. Investors track headlines, retailers track returns, customers track perceived honesty. Thoughtful, any new venture will carry the baggage of Barrygate, and gate-heavy baggage tends to slow even the flashiest relaunch. Frustrated, none of this had to happen. Annoyed, the boring administrative grind, filing forms, booking inspections, paying for organic audits, could have been wrapped long before influencers teased unboxing videos. Instead, the launch raced ahead at Instagram's speed, only to collide with the immovable wall of federal regulation. It's a cautionary tale for anyone banking on celebrity capital. Hype may buy attention, but it can't buy compliance. If Meghan hopes to salvage her entrepreneurial image, she'll need more than stylized apology notes. She'll need transparent certifications, third-party audits, and a public mea culpa that acknowledges the lapse without spinning it into another glossy fairy tale. Determined, food insiders say she must release batch logs, supply chain maps, and perhaps even invite journalists into the facility, if a legitimate one exists. Direct, in short, swap Instagram filters for inspection reports. Meanwhile, rival influencers and gossip outlets feast on every development. The same talk show panels that once debated her sartorial choices now dissect hazard analysis plans and FDA code. Serious. It's a media circus, but with real-world stakes, consumers' health and a high-profile brand's future. The Duchess's every move, from retweeting a charity post to visiting a farmer's market, is now filtered through the lens of Jamgate, Gravely. And in the ruthlessly competitive wellness arena, trust is currency. Lose it, and even the prettiest packaging can't command a premium. Thoughtful. There's also a broader industry backlash. Small food producers, tired of watching stars leapfrog process and still capture headlines, are rallying around stricter enforcement. Emphatic, several trade groups advocate harsher penalties for unregistered celebrity products, arguing that fame shouldn't exempt anyone from safety standards. Warningly, if legislative momentum builds, Meghan's misstep could spark new rules that make it harder for any influencer to launch food items without a compliance trail. Somberly, while legal teams negotiate potential settlements and accountants tally projected fines, the human side of the story lingers. Sadly, fans who baked scones in anticipation, moms who planned to gift the jam in holiday baskets, foodies eager for a taste of Royal California, all now feel burned. Some will forgive after a formal recall and refund, others will hold a grudge far longer. Pensive, in an era where authenticity sells more than any endorsement, regaining that emotional appetite might be Meghan's toughest challenge yet. So what's next for As Ever? Right now, the product sits in limbo, physically removed from shelves, yet psychologically etched into pop culture memory as a cautionary label. Meghan can double down on paperwork, secure retroactive certifications, and try a quiet relaunch months down the line. She could pivot, investing in non-ingestible goods where regulations are looser, though consumer skepticism will travel with her. Or she could exit the wellness arena, conceding the niche to competitors who followed the rules. Each path demands more than a PR makeover. It requires a core shift in how the brand values diligence over aesthetics. For observers, the saga offers a single, searing takeaway. Compliance isn't glamorous, but it's non-negotiable. You can hire the best photographers, craft the sweetest copy, and still lose everything if the foundations aren't regulatory rock solid. Meghan's jam was marketed as heirloom tradition meets Hollywood sparkle, but without the safety net of due diligence, it became a symbol of celebrity vanity at its sloppiest. Which leaves us here, Jars off shelves, lawyers on speed dial, consumers wary, and the FDA watching. Will Meghan rise like a phoenix from strawberry seed ashes, armed with certifications and humility? Or will the words, as ever, forever cue memories of the swiftest product recall in royal history? Only time and the next batch of paperwork will tell. If you found this deep dive eye-opening, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss the next cautionary tale from the glitzy frontline of celebrity brands. Because in this world, the jam may be off the shelves, but the drama is still simmering, and we've got our spoons ready.